I want to revisit my finger lickin chicken recipe again because I did some research on fried chicken, and what I noticed was common in a lot of these recipes was that the cooks soaked their chicken pieces in buttermilk. I've never done that. Now in some cases the chicken was soaked in the buttermilk for 2 to 3 hours. Sometimes it was overnight. This is in the evening, so I'm going to actually prep the chicken tonight, let it sit overnight in the buttermilk, and then tomorrow I'm going to fry the chicken. I'm also going to show you again my formula for the 11 herbs and spices that I have for making the coating mix. So let's start by prepping the chicken. Because this is going to be finger food, I like to have my chicken pieces cut into long strips. I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thigh meat. Let's see, I can cut that into, it's almost enough for 4 there, but I'm going to cut it into 3. And put that in my bowl. And then you do as many chicken thighs as you need to feed your crowd. Again, 3 pieces. So I've got a bunch of these here to cut up, and then I'll start adding the buttermilk. I have about 10 chicken thighs there that are cut up. And I'm opening my carton of buttermilk. How much do you add? I guess enough to cover. And then I'm going to get my fingers in there and kind of slop that around and get it distributed so that the chicken underneath gets some of the buttermilk. Oh, smells good. Add a little bit more. Kind of let that cover. Okay, I'm going to rinse my hands here. And then I'm going to cover this and put it in the refrigerator. As far as how much buttermilk to add, it all depends upon how much chicken you're going to marinate in the buttermilk. Obviously, you'll use less if you use only a small amount of chicken. All right, that's going to go in the refrigerator. So I'll give you the abridged version of the 11 herbs and spices. This is Todd Wilbur's book, A Treasury of Top Secret Recipes. I'm going to read you something from this book. In 1983, in his book Big Secrets, author William Poundstone hired a laboratory to analyze a dry sampling of the spice mixture. The surprising discovery was that instead of identifying 11 herbs and spices, the analysis showed only 4 ingredients: flour, salt, pepper, and monosodium glutamate, MSG, a flavor enhancer. And then, according to other research from the internet, Ron Douglas, a former J.P. Morgan employee who tries to reverse engineer recipes from chain restaurants, thinks he can create a KFC replica so good that no one will be able to tell the difference. Douglas is the author of the cookbook America's Most Wanted Recipes, and according to him, you'll need a pressure fryer to cook that chicken. Okay, I did a lot of research on a lot of different formulas, and I put what I thought was the best of them together into one recipe, one formula, and that's what I'm going to make. And I usually make a large container of it, and I just keep it in the cupboard. And whenever I want to make finger lickin chicken, that's what I use for my coating mix. So let's assemble the coating mix. This is the container that I keep my mix in, and I even have my formula right here on the outside. And I should explain, originally Colonel Sanders used 11 herbs and spices, but he sold Kentucky Fried Chicken to another company. They sold it, and in the selling, blah, 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 to cut costs and increase profits, supposedly the 11 herbs and spices were abandoned, and they cut it back to the 4: flour, salt, pepper, and monosodium glutamate. Okay, so I have flour in here, again, 4 cups, 20 ounces, 570 grams, and I'm going to add to that 1 teaspoon of ground oregano, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, any heat you like. If you want it really spicy, you can use the hottest chili powder you can find. 1 teaspoon of ground sage, 1 teaspoon of dried basil that's been ground, 1 teaspoon of dried marjoram ground, and then 2 teaspoons of black pepper, ground black pepper, freshly ground, 2 tablespoons, now we're into tablespoons, 2 tablespoons of salt, and then again 2 tablespoons of paprika. If you want a smoky flavor, you could use smoked paprika. And then back to teaspoons, I have 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and then 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And this is optional. You may not like it, but I don't have a problem with it. This is 1 tablespoon of MSG, monosodium glutamate. If you have a problem with MSG, don't use it. Just add more salt, maybe double the salt. But I never have any reaction to it. I'm going to put the lid on and just kind of roll this around until little by little I get all those 11 herbs and spices evenly distributed in my flour. So I've been mixing this for a while. I think that's got it nicely distributed. I don't see any concentrations of herbs anywhere. All right, I'm going to put this away, and then tomorrow we will make finger lickin' chicken. So here we are, day 2. My chicken has been marinating overnight in buttermilk. If you look at the clock, yes, it's only about 9:15, 9:16 in the morning. Why am I frying chicken so early? It's because the temperature today outside is supposed to reach 103 degrees. Where I live, it could get as high as 110. So I want to get this done so I can get the air conditioners on before it gets too warm for them to do something about it. So let's fry this chicken. All right, I'm going to take some chicken out of my buttermilk and then dip it in my seasoning mix and lay it in the pan. As far as how long you cook that, maybe 5 minutes per side till it's done. It's going to take me a while to get all these pieces cooking. As I think I mentioned yesterday, I've got about 10 chicken thighs here. I'll be doing these in batches of about maybe 5 to 6 pieces each. And I should mention that I brought that oil up to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 190 degrees Celsius. And I'll keep monitoring that temperature. When you put the chicken in, of course, the oil is going to go down in temperature, but you don't want it to get up so hot that it smokes. And I'm just using corn oil. I like to cook by temperature. So when these get up to about 160 degrees, that's already plenty done. And you can start transferring them out. That's about 148. That's still low. All right, some of these, this one's probably done because it's a small piece. No, I'm going to turn those one more time. So there is a nice mound of finger lickin' chicken. I'm going to sprinkle that with a pinch of salt because I know it needs it. I don't cook with much salt. All right, put a few pieces of chicken on this plate. Maybe 3, huh? To start off with. And then an ear of corn. Lets me use my new corn cob handles that I just got in the mail yesterday. Those are OXO, OXO, and I got them from Amazon. And then a nice big dollop of homemade potato salad because I love potato salad. I'm going to show you in a future recipe how I make my potato salad. I love that potato salad. It's a little too early to be eating this for lunch. It's 10:15, but I wanted to get this done. So I'm just going to taste it and then I'll cover this with foil and I'll eat it later. That is good. That buttermilk That buttermilk adds a tart flavor to it. That's quite good. All right, so there it is, another recipe for finger licking chicken.